All right, 12:02 on the Oil Stream. Thank you very much for being here at the Oil Stream today and every day. Brought to you by our great partners over at Boston Pizza. Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Make your plans to get that heart-shaped pizza right now. Won't be disappointed. Dusty with you here at EST Studios. Tom Gazzola down in what looks to be the Hall of Fame room at the rink. Tommy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I've got the whole Hall of Fame room to myself, Dusty. It's very, very lovely.
Wow, they must trust you a lot to leave you in there with all those sweet items.
Well, I respect these items very much, and I wouldn't want to put out my former colleagues at the Oilers and OEG. Stauffer did make a comment to me that, are we sure we want to let him in? He is the gatekeeper to everything, as you know, around here.
Wait. Staff said, who's he letting in where?
He said, are we sure we want to let Tom in to the Hall of Fame room?
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah,
but
it does. When he said it, I was like, oh.
Yeah, in the end, they did let you in.
Well, nobody even responded to him. He was largely ignored, as should be the case. So here we are.
Well, it's you got the room all to yourself, so that's nice. Oilers and Avs tonight. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. If you have any questions, any thoughts on the game tonight, fire them over at 780-218-9999. And if you were watching over on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up for us. Max Mazuzu says, "Is Tommy in the after hours right now? Are you doing after hours? Is that what's happening? Are you setting up for a special Friday after hours?"
I would love to do after hours. That's a show I really enjoy. And when Scott Oak is done, I'm sure Bukauskas is going to take over. But if Kyle gets tired of it, I'll call him and I'll say, Kyle, you get those guys to hire me just for Saturday nights, and I will happily host that show. And I'll tell you a little story about back then in the early days of after hours, when they would do it in Edmonton at Rexall Place. A lot of times Scott Oak would go to questions from Twitter, right? And we would always do these segments called Ask an Oiler. And we'd always open it up to Twitter questions and fan questions. They would email them in, and I would host Ask an Oiler. Yeah. And the last 10, 15 minutes, I would open it up with those questions that the fans would submit. And every time Okie was here to do after hours with an Oiler, he seemed to get the guy I had on Ask an Oiler, and he seemed to ask a lot of the same questions that I had dropped on Ask an Oilers. So I'm not saying what I'm saying. And
I was going to say, it sounds like you are saying.
Okie's one of the best, though. I have nothing but respect for him. And I'd be like, you know that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where he's like with the cigarette in his mouth? Yeah. I would be doing that, watching after hours. Be like, I asked that on Ask an Oiler. So obviously way bigger audience on after hours.
I mean, a little bit bigger. It's funny because as Ripsy Step pointed out, today is the anniversary of Stauffer's EST debut in Vegas on the Hangout. So could he barge in again somehow? You never know, I guess.
No, he's gone. I'm looking.
He might be gone, but you know he's lurking outside, monitoring you. If you look out the window, he's across the street in a trench coat watching. That's probably what's happening.
Yes, he's probably looking on the security cameras. Should we let him in? Yeah. I said, don't let him in.
All right, you were down at the rink this morning, obviously. Anything developing down there today?
Just some new line combinations. What did they have? I mean, they sent Noah Philp down.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, go send him down to play a couple of weeks in the AHL and keep fresh and make sure his game is still sharp. And then the lines, Reed put them out there. I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head, but they've got Nugent Hopkins, third line center, Henrique, fourth line center, Podkolzin with Arvidsson and Draisaitl. Or is it Podkolzin with Draisaitl and...
I'm going to grab a tweet right now from Reed. I was just doing some other stuff on Twitter. I'll bring it up. Reed Wilkins from the Reed Wilkins show every afternoon. Here we go. McDavid, Arvidsson, Hyman. So
that's the one.
Two righties with McDavid there, and then Draisaitl, Podkolzin, Skinner, Nuge, Brown, Janmark, Henrique, Kapanen, and Perry.
That's the one. So I don't know. Like, you could tell that the tank is almost empty here with these guys. That doesn't mean they're off the hook tonight. They're going to have to play a good game. You can only imagine how Colorado's feeling. As I was coming back to the rink, the Avs staff was starting to roll in. Obviously, the equipment guys have been here, and super light optional skate for the Colorado Avalanche after their win last night in Calgary. So this is going to be two teams trying to empty the tank, whatever's left. I like the Oilers with a little bit more juice and jam left in theirs compared to the Colorado Avalanche, and it's going to be a tough test. And, we've seen Colorado give the Oilers fits in recent years. Maybe they're not the same team that we've seen that was a cup contender and won a Stanley Cup a couple of years ago, Dusty, but this is a good Avs team, and they put together a nice night last night at the Saddle Dome. So the Oilers are going to need to be on their toes, and they can't let, after tonight and their vacation plans seep into their minds during this game.
780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Let's get to these Popeye spicy headlines here right off the top, Tommy. That would be Brad Marchand. There's been some speculation around town about Brad Marchand. I know Low Tide had done an article talking about he'd be a good guy to target if for some reason he becomes available. Are you hearing anything on a Brad Marchand front one way or the other?
Well, I thought to myself, I'm like, ooh, juicy. Like that is a nice little ditty there. And then obviously you have to follow up. And so I asked a couple of people about it. And basically I was told that is not a name that has been discussed in terms of the Oilers going out and picking up internally, or a name that hadn't come up recently. So when I checked in and cross-referenced with some other people, they were told the same thing. So I was very intrigued by it. I was like, wouldn't that be something? Because I saw some people in the nasty chat too post-game the other night being like, what about Friedman mentioning it and this and that? I was just told that is not a name that has been discussed, unlike Brandon Saad, whose name did come up with the Oilers and
even
had
before,
been discussed.
Right? He'd been kind of on a bit of a mini radar for a little bit, right? Like, or at least they've been keeping tabs on Brandon Saad. So, yeah, I didn't think it was I mean, like, things can change, I guess, but and
I'm just saying what I've been told is that's not a name, Brad Marchand's, that has come up in terms of who the Oilers are going to go after, or have they discussed potentially getting.
All right, we'll get to some of your text messages, so keep those coming in, 780-218-9999, and there's a bunch over there that we will try to sort through. This one's from Pat in the county. It says, guys, is there any way Tommy can do the oil stream wearing Gretzky's gloves and helmet, kind of like Ovechkin? What do you think, Tommy?
Well, I do know the guy that has the key to all this stuff and maintains it, so I can go grab him. He's down the hallway right now. Dwayne Tomko, awesome guy. He was the guy that actually was taking shots from McDavid a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And Dwayne oversees like memorabilia, all the used equipment that you see at the locker room sales. Like Dwayne takes care of all of that. And then like if you need to get anything authenticated, because a lot of guys try to Frankenstein, like this Grant Fuhr jersey right here. See these Grant Fuhr pads and then like the 80s era Oilers jerseys. There's guys that will go and they will buy like one of those old Nike Oilers jerseys from the 80s, and it's a game worn, but it's like a call up from the AHL or from the minor league team, right? And they will Frankenstein a 99 Gretzky, and they will try to sell it as an authentic game-worn, game-used Wayne Gretzky jersey, when really it's a fake, and they get Dwayne to authenticate because he has knowledge of the material, knowledge of who wore what. It's really crazy, and the lengths that some guys will go to counterfeit a Gretzky or a Messier jersey is absolutely insane. Because Dusty, these jerseys back here from the 80s, they only got 2 sets a year. Talking to Sparky Kolchiski and
so
Barry
there's not
Stafford.
a lot of those things kicking around, right? Like,
there's not a lot of them kicking around. So the authentics are super rare, and so guys will try to fake it and sell it off to you as a legit authentic one. And Dwayne will sniff it out, if you will.
Tommy, let's just play for funsies here. If you were a thief and tricked them into letting you into that room, and you had a hammer and you could smash all the glass and take one item, what item are you taking?
Like, are we talking like I want to convert this into selling it on the dark web?
No, you're taking it to keep in your house and hope nobody ever sees.
Oh, okay. I would honestly steal one of Kevin Lowe's Stanley Cups because he's got 5 of them that he's donated here. That's what I think I would take. Maybe 88, because I was like, the last Gretzky Cup, and that was like the last true great team for the Oilers. So I'd probably take the 87-88 Stanley Cup, which is right there. There's a McDavid jersey that he wore at the last game at Rexall. That'd be all right. There's a Messier jersey. You got Wayne's skates and his sticks, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably go with the 88 Stanley Cup.
Not a bad idea. Steal a Stanley Cup. That would be tough to sneak out in your backpack. But
it's not that. It's only it's like this big.
How big is your backpack?
This is the one that Rashog hates, by the way.
Oh, that's the one that Rashog looks down upon.
Yeah, very much so.
I
it would
think
fit.
It looks good.
It would fit.
I think it looks good.
Thank you.
All right, 780-218-9999. Max Mazuzu says, is there a Cujo mask in there? Because I'd take that. You know, this is a kind of final, like a fun sidetrack thing. If you could have one piece of Oilers memorabilia ever, from all time, what would it be? Text us on this one, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat over on YouTube as well. One piece, and you can get funny with it if you want, or you can just be serious about it, and there's one piece of equipment from Wayne at one time, or Connor at one time, or however Gager at one time. Like we got Gager's mask already sitting over there here in the office. So what would it be? 780-218-9999. Northside Sandwich says a fully functional oil derrick from Rexall.
That's in Fort Hall.
Yeah.
That's in Fort Hall.
And that's the same one. Right there. You're right.
Yeah. Okay, so there's 3 masks in here. One's Ty Conklin's. This one, you got Grant's, like the OG Grant Fuhr, which is like immortal. And then I think that's Dave Dryden, like an old school white mask from the WHA days.
Next time you go down, you should sneak this one in there. Hey, is there room that we could just somehow sneak Gager's mask in there for a bit? People are walking through the Hall of Fame and are like, oh, whose is that one? Gage.
Oh, Joaquin Gage.
How'd that get in there?
I heard,
dusty, actually.
I heard that Joaquin Gage was the first Oilers goalie all time to win in Minnesota when the Wild became a franchise.
Oh, well, that's pretty impressive. He must have
that's going to be on the little placard.
Did he beat? Hey, Gager. When Tommy's talking right now, he said that you were the first goalie ever for the Oilers to win in Minnesota. Was it against Noodles or Manny Fernandez? Like, who was it against? Both. You beat both of them. He says he beat both of them at different times. So there you go.
Wow.
Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive indeed. So yeah, we should put that. You should try to sneak his mask in. 780-218-9999. Doof is in. This is going to be a fun topic today. The socks that Yakupov slid across Rexall ice on. Remember that?
I do.
God, was that good?
Yeah. That was good. Yak, what a character. I think he's doing pretty good in Russia this year. I follow him on Instagram. Sometimes I'll shoot him a message, and what a guy.
Is he still eating ice cream in front of coaches?
You know what? Knowing him, probably. And I remember I was like, Yak, where did you go this offseason? He goes, Cyprus. He's like, best girls, best clubs, best party. And I was like, all right, buddy. I'll see you when I get there.
He 24 points in 28 games.
There you go.
So far this season. Actually, no, that's split between 2 teams. He's gone to Omsk, and he's got 24 points in 28 games. He had 11 in 27 with Kulin Red Star. So, yeah, but remember that slide down the ice? Unbelievable. That place was going nuts. That was a great game to be at, man. That was good. Somebody's texted me and said you know that picture of Stoff with his bags, and he's in that all-black suit? Yep. Somebody said Stoff's black suit should be something that somebody want to get their hands on too. You can sign it with a silver pen. Yeah.
Are you sure you want that? Okay.
No, not me, but I mean, but somebody else might, obviously.
Oh, okay.
I definitely do not. Coach Mike says Hendricks dented cup from blocking a shot.
That's in the vault.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
The OG Stanley Cup banners from the Coliseum in Rexall.
Those are, I think Daryl Cates bought them.
Yeah, that's what this guy said, that are hanging in his house, essentially.
Yes. And then the ones that are along the corridor between the downtown community arena and Ford Hall, those are the ones they remade in the last 5 years of Rexall Place. And then when they moved here, they actually had to make them, I think, 1.5 times bigger, just so they stood out. You'll notice like the Oil King banners and the retirement banners are the same. They're a little bit smaller because they're the same size and they're the same ones from Rexall Place.
Sorry, I'm just tweeting out this memorabilia question.
Oh, yeah.
We can get some
Nice.
good answers over there. Is the Oil Stream brought to you by Boston Pizza? Heart-shaped pizza just around the corner with Valentine's Day on the way next week. 780-218-9999. Andrew, the accountant, says he would steal the Garth Brooks banner so it can never be hung up again. And we'll keep a few of those rolling in as well. T-Rev with an interesting question. Good afternoon, gentlemen. What is the expectation for non-Four Nation players during the break? Is it like a vacation for the majority of the time? Are there multiple days of practices? Tommy, have you heard anything about the non-player schedule for the next little while?
Well, I had a nice conversation with Brett Kulak, which you can see and hear on the Nasty Club. It's an exclusive one-on-one. Yeah, and I said, so lots of snow shoveling and bundling up and activities in the snow for the next couple of weeks. He's like, no, we'll be in Hawaii. So these guys are going to all take off. I don't think there's any expectation for them to practice or anything like that. Maybe the teams want them back a few days before their next game when they finally play again, but they're all headed on vacation.
All right, so that's Kulak Conversation will be available for all Nasty Club members. If you go to EdmontonSportsTalk.com and click on Nasty Club, you can hear that chat between Tommy and Kulak. Lots of good Ryan Smith's teeth from taking that Pronger slap shot in the playoffs. That one's in from Cozy.
That's good.
You can keep those coming in. We'll get to a few more of those and work our way through the show today. All right, a couple other things to get to. Oilers and Avs tonight. We talked about it. They're run back those lines. What do you think the leash is now like on Skinner in the top six, buddy?
Not long. Not long, but
like
good for him,
if he has a bad game tonight, is he like when they fire things back up, he's back to a healthy scratch, do you think? Or
well, okay, let's use tonight for example. If things go back to them not being happy with his performance or anything like that, he might be lucky that there's a break here and that he has a couple of weeks between games. Like they might forego the same type of scrutiny, if you will. And this is just me guessing. Like I think he would have to be pretty bad and let them down and have a goal against that
like on him
directly. Yeah, exactly. I think something like that would have to knock him back down to the bottom six. I think that they're willing to give him a little shot here. So this is nice. This is good. He has played better lately, and having a multi-point game in Chicago was a good sign. And the fact that he's playing strong defensively and back-checking his ass off, which is great because that's not really his MO. So I think there is a little bit of grace, but honestly, Dusty, I don't think there's a ton of grace. If we see old habits kick up again, if he misses an assignment here or there, like he's under their watchful eye, let's call it. The scrutiny will be high, and I think he has to have a pretty flawless game.
So how many flawless games do you think he needs before the trust is there again that if he does make a mistake, you're not benching his ass? You know what I mean?
I would start with having a good one tonight. Yeah. And then that allows him to be in the top six coming out of the break. And then they'll kind of have to reevaluate. That's why I don't think it's a really long leash. Like a couple of good games in a row doesn't give you a long leash, right? Like you need to do it over the course of a month or 2 to 3 weeks minimum to continually get that shot. I mean, look at Podkolzin, man. Like he has been a ghost the last couple of games. And he's back up into the top six because they generally like him in the top six, whether we agree with it or not. He's back in the top six tonight. So there's an example of how this coaching staff has kind of functioned, is they like what Podkolzin has done, his body of work with them this year. He's got the trust and he's got a nice rapport with this coaching staff that after a couple of games in the bottom six, he's getting another look in the top six, even though his point production isn't top six caliber. And I think it was James in the Nasty chat a couple of games ago, post-game, mentioned that if you go to Podkolzin's expected points over 60, he produces like a top 6. But like, come on, that's why I hate the expected over 60 stats. Like, I think they're flawed.
All right, let's get to some of the chat on this. Brett B says, feels good to see his defensive game come around. Even though I didn't like it, it seems like Knob's hardball may have worked. Deskara says, if he has a bad period, they will send him to the press box mid-game. And then T-Man says, how cool would it be if Jeff got the Oilers' first hat trick of the season? Wouldn't that be something? What a twist that would be for him. We're going to have more, actually, on Jeff Skinner during Keep It or Clip It as well. Tommy, Philp sent down, like you mentioned earlier, not the end of the world by any stretch of imagination. Nope. What did you see from him when he was here? And does he look to you like somebody who can... I'm trying to think of the word, because I don't want to say, contribute significantly, but I also don't think you should have guys in the playoffs who are just trying to scrape by. So do you think he factors into the playoff picture at all for the Edmonton Oilers?
Yes. Like, I think he's on the roster for the playoffs. When he gets called back up at some point in the stretch, and if he continues to show growth, then I think he is on the roster. I liked elements of his last call-up. I mean, he's 15 games into his NHL career now, Dusty? Like, that's a lot to ask. That's why I was saying a few weeks ago, you're probably still looking for a depth veteran forward at the deadline, because to put it all on Noah Philp is a huge ask. And the next step for Philp is to get comfortable at the NHL level and to show that he can provide you that fourth line steadiness day in, day out. That's kind of the next evolution of Noah Philp. And they gave him a taste of it again, and I think they probably will when things kick back up after the Four Nations face-off break. And I don't think I would have the confidence myself in him being your fourth line center for a playoff run.
Yeah, me neither.
I just think the experience isn't there, and he's going to need more reps, and he's going to need more time. And I know he's 26, and that gives him a bit of an advantage, but you need to do it at this level for a longer period of time. And there's been some positive steps in the right direction. I think he's building a steady base to consistently be an NHLer at some point. I don't think it's there yet, though.
Yeah, I don't think he'll factor in the playoffs, and this is not meant to slight him at all, but I hope he doesn't. This should be like they should add a forward at if you're going to play or even have Philp as your 12th or 13th forward, I think you need to get another veteran body in there instead. So for his sake too, you don't want him but what happens if you get into a spot where you have to play him, but it's the playoffs, so you don't want to play him, so he sits on the bench and plays 2 minutes? Cool to be a part of the game, but you got to have the depth guys that you can at least rely upon to get 8, 9, 10 minutes out of come playoff time, I think. So I like what I saw from him. I just,
Oh, yeah.
It'll be next year territory before we see if he can grab a full-time spot here, I think.
And Dusty, we're only 2 years removed from Dylan Holloway making his NHL debut in the conference final against the Colorado Avalanche. People screaming to get Holloway, and the Oilers couldn't score against Colorado. They play Holloway.
How much did he play that game?
3.5 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 3.5 minutes. Yeah, it was. Yeah. I don't think it was over 4 minutes. It was somewhere in that 3-minute range. So, yeah. I think they'll. Well, Chris Johnston on Nielsen show this morning said he still thinks the Oilers bring in 1 or 2 bodies, not at a big level, but 1 or 2 depth guys, probably a forward and probably a defenseman. So something to keep tabs on as we work our way towards the NHL trade deadline, which is just a couple of weeks after the Four Nations wraps up. James Barrow says, what about Philp as a fourth line right winger? And he takes strong side draws. I mean, there are ways to try to get the best out of him, but just acquire a veteran forward that you can throw into those spots if you feel you need one, right? They're going to run a lineup tonight full of veterans, and Philp isn't a part of that, and it's still a pretty good lineup too. So Northside Sandwich asks the question, says, guys, are we done looking at D-men because of Klingberg? No, I don't think so, right?
No. And keep in mind, Klingberg's only played 3 or 4 games here, so he's got to get more comfortable, but there's some good signs from him.
Yeah, the grade mark would still be incomplete at this point, right?
Reed said it when Klingberg came in, and I love how Reed articulated this. He said, think of Klingberg as an upgrade on Stetcher. He's not a Bouchard replacement. And I think, if you look at it that way, you go, okay, that is actually, that makes sense, and it's reasonable. And I think you can already see with the way Klingberg thinks the game, quick hands, the calmness with the puck, and finding guys in stride. I think that edge that he has over Stetcher is already there and has improved the Oilers' efficiency getting the puck out of their own zone, which is huge. And listen, he's not the heaviest defenseman, and he's kind of a gangly, lanky guy. And is he going to outmuscle every forward, especially power forwards? Probably not, but he's a bigger body, and his range is better, and his reach is longer, and there's things he can do on the ice that Troy Stetcher simply can't, because Klingberg's 3-4 inches taller than Troy Stetcher. And so I think that's a good way to look at it. It's an upgrade on Stetcher. And then I think the Oilers and the focus will still remain on a steady defensive defenseman to bolster the back end and be a reliable D-man in his own zone. And I think that would be huge for the Oilers. I don't think that target and that focus has changed for them.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Keep those text messages flying in here today as well. Hampton Steve texts in and says, according to LeBrun's interview with Bowman in The Athletic today, the Oilers are looking for a left shot D-man and a bottom six forward. So, Tommy, do we read into anything he said there about looking for a left shot defenseman?
It just sounds like they're looking for a good defenseman. I mean, they have 3 solid lefties. The right side has been improved with Klingberg. And maybe the preference is, because if you think about it, Dusty, too, now that Klingberg's here, you got Bouchard, you got Emberson, you got Stetcher, who's a righty. You only have 3 left shot defensemen that are up here. So left shot makes sense in that regard, and kind of opens up the options in terms of guys that you might be able to pluck from another team. So I don't mind that, and I'm sure it's a guy that can play either the right or left side, and that's what's going to be valued, and the flexibility, that's important. So the weakness is still the right side in terms of just abilities, but they have 3 left shot D-men on the roster, 4 on the right side, and so if it ends up being a left shot D-man, so be it.
All right, keep the comments rolling in. We got lots of time for those today. 780-218-9999. Any questions as well? KD says, Tommy, just tell us Kane isn't coming back. He's coming back, isn't he, Tommy? I mean,
honestly, Dusty, I don't know. And I assume he is. Like me personally, I think he is. And as I've been told by some, is everybody's on Evander's time. And, when he's ready, when his body tells him he's ready, if he's dialed in and ready to shift his focus from the stuff away from the game to being back on the ice and being an Oiler, then I'm pretty sure the team's going to welcome him back. But, every time I ask about him to people in the organization, they're like, we don't know. Like, Evander's on Evander's time, we're on Evander's time, and hopefully we can get him back. Best case scenario, I was told, he doesn't come back to the playoffs, scores a couple of goals in the playoffs, boosts his value, and they trade him in the offseason.
Yeah, like I'm sort of expecting him to be back, but if he never plays another game for the Oilers, you would not find me like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like it's
same.
You got to see how it's going to sort itself out. I mean, if they could somehow, even if there's a separation in the offseason, if they could somehow get 2 good months out of a somewhat healthy Evander Kane, that could go a long way for this team. If it can work out for them, I think it's kind of like almost, as I was just going to say it, Penner's Pancake says as exactly what he needs. So I mean, he would check so many boxes. So if he can get to a spot where he feels like he can play and he's good to go, huge for the team. And if there is, something in the offseason where they move him or he wants to be moved or whatever, I'm not saying that there will in any way, shape, or form, but, but worry about the here and now and he's been, getting healthy as required by what he needs. And if he can come out of the gate come playoff time, I mean, it could be an absolute game changer for this team. If you get a healthy, motivated Evander Kane for the playoffs, look out. I mean, it could be incredible.
Yeah. Man, he's such a good hockey player. Like, he has so many tools. He has the ability, and when he's dialed in, man, he is an impact player. Yeah, and I respect his game.
He's one of those unique guys in the game, especially today, right? Like, and the Oilers have always wanted and needed that guy. And you look at their roster right now, they still want and need that guy. And if he can come back and be that guy, then, I mean, almost like a cheat code come playoff time. If you can add that type of guy into the mix, motivated and healthy, I think that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, as Spency 5 cents, he says, a healthy Kane on this Oilers team. It's like an anaconda taking down a pig, which is that classic JMO line that they
great line.
A little bit around here. Yeah. All right, so we see Nathan MacKinnon tonight. Who would you say right now is Leon Draisaitl's biggest threat in the Hart Trophy race?
Oh, good question. You know what? I'd say Connor Hellebuck. Like, this is one of those seasons, and I know we talked about it a couple days on this show, but Hellebuck is having one of those special seasons where you can make a case that he is the Hart Trophy. I don't know if he's the top candidate for the Hart Trophy, but I'd say he's in the mix, and you can't deny him because, like, we compare him to former Hart Trophy winners that were goalies, Jose Theodore, Dominic Hasek when he won Hart Trophies. Like, those guys had monster seasons, and I think Hellebuck is having one of those caliber seasons. So to me, it's not Nate MacKinnon. Nate MacKinnon's having an amazing season. And I know Leon just took over the scoring lead from him, but MacKinnon's teams, they're playing better, but they're not an elite level team. They're a very good team. Hellebuck is leading just an absolutely phenomenal Winnipeg Jets season and team, and he is the guy driving the bus for them all the way from the crease, which is incredible. So I think it would be Connor Hellebuck in my eyes.
Yeah, and I don't want to – this is no slight of a guy that we're going to get to see play tonight, but for me, especially if Vancouver's in the playoffs, the top three are Leon Draisaitl, Connor Hellebuck, Quinn Hughes.
And Hughes can't stay healthy.
Well, yeah, but when he's in the lineup, nobody's remotely close to him in Vancouver. Like,
True.
They might not even have a forward with 50 points this year. This guy's going to have 70-some as a defense. Like, if you go look at the Canucks stats right now, it's ridiculous to see Quinn Hughes leading their team in significant offensive categories, not just assists as a defenseman. Like, I honestly think if Vancouver gets that final playoff spot, the three finalists should be Hellebuck, Draisaitl, and look, MacKinnon's leading the league in scoring again. Had a 3-point night last night. But I think when it comes down to Draisaitl and MacKinnon, I mean, Draisaitl has 18 more goals than Nathan MacKinnon, and they both have a similar amount of points.
Yep.
To me, I mean, you have to look at the goals, and if this guy brings home the Rocket Richard, I mean, if they have almost the same amount of points, MacKinnon or Draisaitl, one or the other on top, but Leon has 20 more goals, what are we even doing here? I mean, nothing against assists, but a guy with 20 more goals than the Rocket Richard, got to take that thing home. So
agreed.
MacKinnon's having a great year, but I'm not even sure I'd have him in the top three right now.
And I'd factor in the results. Like, say the Oilers do win the Pacific Division, I think that matters because Colorado is likely fourth in the Central.
Well, I mean, if it was today, they'd be playing in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, after their win last night.
Yeah, unless that's changed. I'll double check right now, but Colorado's not competing remotely anywhere for a division right now. So I think that factors in. Man, are you hearing poker chips?
No.
It's been sounding like somebody's shuffling poker chips like the whole show. Just faintly.
Is it my jacket?
Yes.
There we go. I'll zip it up.
It was
How's
okay.
That?
It was your jacket. Yeah. Because people are like, Dusty, what's up with the poker chips? I'm like, I got no poker chips. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on here. But
it's the microphone on these headphones then. I'm sorry.
It was a microphone hitting the Jackets. Yeah, so it would be Oilers and Avs if they played today. And as of right now, Vancouver is 2 points up on Calgary for a playoff spot. So my top three right now for the Hart Trophy would be Leon Draisaitl, Connor Hellebuck, Quinn Hughes. That's what I would look at there. 780-218-9999. Yeah, it sounded like shuffling poker chips, but it was just your jacket. Deskra says, "Hey guys, who votes on the Hart Trophy?"
Media?
It's media. Hart Trophy's media.
Yeah, and then the Lindsay is the players.
The Lindsay is the players. The Hart's. What's the one that just the coaches vote on? Isn't there one that just the coaches vote on?
Oh boy.
I thought there was one that the coaches vote on.
I'd have to double check. I can't remember.
I'll try to get to the bottom of it. Maybe I'm wrong. For some reason, I thought there was one that the coaches voted on. Oh, maybe it's this one. NHL Broadcasters Association votes for the Jack Adams. I don't think all of the like the PWHA. I don't think votes. Is there a difference there? There's a difference there. I think.
I believe so.
Maybe that's what
PWHA
coach. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the writers, and then the broadcasters are
broadcasters vote for the Jack Adams, I think.
Yeah, the team broadcasters, radio and TV.
Okay, there we go. That makes more sense.
Yep.
All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. The troll is in. It says, MacKinnon is faster. They have similar strength. They're similar defensively. Leon is the best passer in the league, and he is a better goal scorer as well. Pat says, Dusty, after playing two hands 20 minutes into a tournament, I got no poker chips. That sounds about right, Pat. Dudley says, yeah, I've been hearing them. It was very faint. It was only popping up once in a while. But Eden says, Hellebuck's got to be the favorite. No, 925 save percentage, with the league averages around 905 with 33 wins so far and 6 shutouts. Yeah, I mean, he's having the Hart Trophy goaltender in the mixed season, 100%.
I agree.
This one from Bone says, guys, can we please just make the Hart Trophy the top forward to align with the Norris and the Vezina, and then the Ted Lindsay becomes the MVP? Tommy, your thoughts on that? I mean, forwards already have the Art Ross, usually, right? So
yeah,
forwards have the Art Ross, and I know it's a race and it's not being voted on. I get it. I understand. But, I mean, forwards kind of have their own trophy. Just score the most points and you can win it. I don't know. I don't know if we need...
Forwards, the Selke, like that's a forward almost exclusive.
Only exclusive, yeah.
Right. Like I understand where Bones is coming from with that one, but why do we always have to tinker with the qualifications for awards? Why do we have to always tinker with like the divisions and the scheduling and all that? Like, can we not just enjoy it? And this is what the parameters that they set. And let's just go with it. It's always, and it's in every sport. Like, there's always this desire to tinker. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, to me, I'm like, that's what we're worried about? Okay.
C-Ron says, Draisaitl's plus 27, MacKinnon's plus 17. Draisaitl's having absolutely hell of a year. Yeah. Blake says Draisaitl's going to get the Selke, too. Do you think he ever gets the Selke? Do you think they would actually vote Draisaitl for the Selke?
Kopitar won it, didn't he?
Yeah, Kopitar's got multiple Selkies, doesn't he?
So I don't see why you wouldn't consider him for that, unless they watch every one of his back checks or when he decides to go off on a change and go, well, didn't bust his butt, not 3 hard strides. I couldn't find 1 hard stride on that back check. I think he could be up for it. Absolutely. I mean, he wins a ton of faceoffs.
It is an award that has been won. Okay, this is okay, so going back to 2011-12, Tommy, Selke has been won by 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, 4, 5, 6. 6 different players have won the Selke in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. Can you name the 6 players that have won a Selke in the last 13 years? 3 of them have won multiple ones.
Bergeron and Kopitar are 2 of them.
Yeah.
Datsuk?
He was before that.
Oh, he was before. Okay. Who else would be like a really respected defensive player? Man, oh man. I should pay attention to the
there's
awards
Barkov.
more.
Barkov won last year.
Oh, Barkov. Yeah, that's a good one.
Barkov's won 2. Kopitar's won 2. Bergeron won 6 of them. There's 3 other guys who were one-offs mixed in there. This is a tough game. Don't cheat, people. Don't cheat and text in or hit us up in the nasty chat and see if we can guess it. Don't cheat. But just, I know some of you might still cheat and then pretend you're smart, but just don't cheat. Play the game. Play the game. Statue Boss Production says Ryan O'Reilly. Correct.
Nice. Good one.
19 says Sean Couturier. Correct. And there's one more.
Forgot about him.
There's one more.
Give me a hint.
Stan Bowman had him.
Oh, Jonathan Taves.
There we go. Sobkirk said he'd already cheated, so he would not guess. Thank you very much, Sobkirk. I appreciate that. Bergeron, Taves, Bergeron, Kopitar, Ryan O'Reilly, Couturier, Barkov, Bergeron, Barkov. So,
nice.
Maybe Leon finds his way into the mix there. I know there's a push for it locally here for him to,
of course,
try to. Can you imagine if he pulls off this? Think about this. This would have never happened before, I don't think. Rocket, Art Ross, Hart, Lindsay, Conn Smythe, Selke. There's no way that's happened. But there's an outside.
Buddy, that's legendary.
Like, there's an outside.
Legendary. Yeah, that would be a legendary season.
That would have to go down. Nothing against Wayne and some of these other seasons, but if that would go down as the greatest individual season in NHL history. If you take home the Selke, the Hart, the Rocket Richard, the Art Ross, the Lindsay, and the Conn Smythe. I
think they wouldn't allow or wouldn't give him like the Selke out of spite. Seriously,
just a spite Selke play.
He's won too many awards, like Josh Allen winning the MVP yesterday because Lamar won it too many times or won it already. Like that, I think that happens. That kind of favoritism. Or willingness to balance it out does happen in the NHL voting as well. So I think that would prevent him from doing.
Did Stoff call the cops on you, and that cops are coming to get you out of the Hall of Fame?
No, it's Mark Fistrick in the fire department. That's who it is going by. Yeah.
There we go. All right, 780-218-9999. Tommy, what time you get rolling with pregame tonight too?
We get going at 6 o'clock. Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
Show. That'll be good. Hampton Steve says, hey, do you guys realistically see 3 Western Canadian teams get nominated for the Hart? So we were talking about Hughes, McDavid. Yeah, it's interesting. He says,
yep.
I struggle to see a large portion of Eastern and American media voting for all 3 of them. Fair enough.
Well, who's having better seasons out East? I understand that rationale, and I generally agree with it.
The other guy's a West guy, right? So.
Yep. I mean, who are the best players in the league right now? Those guys. Right? Unless Rantanen goes and has a monster 28 games or whatever in Carolina where not a lot of people pay attention to the Hurricanes. It's just kind of how it is. It's like Winnipeg. It's like Ottawa. They're just Columbus. They're like one of those teams that people are like, oh, they're playing. That's nice.
There's an interesting way to look at this whole awards thing when it's all said and done. And over at Cool Bet, once we get to the 4 nations here right away, we'll have a reset on the odds for the trophies and the cups and things like that, which will be a lot of fun to see where they settle in. But can you imagine what it'll be like in this market? Even though we always say the only trophy that matters now for this group is a Stanley Cup. But if Leon Draisaitl wins the Rocket and the Art Ross and loses the Hart Trophy to a goalie, which is, that's a likely scenario here too.
Yeah, could happen.
People will bitch about that forever. Aren't people still mad that Drew McGinley didn't win it when Jose Theodore did? I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
I think that's the name that kind of got snubbed when Theodore took it down. I can't remember when Price won it, who would have been the snubs that year. But that'll be interesting. All right, let's get to keep it or clip it for Tommy Guns. If you're looking for an outstanding experience with your hair, Tommy Guns has you covered. I'm almost getting to the point with my hair where I'm too embarrassed to go into Tommy Guns because it's
let them clean you up
with this. I know
they can fix it.
I feel bad about that a little bit. It's
no.
Such a mess. I'm past the point.
What are you gonna do? Cut it yourself?
I'm gonna drive back to Cranbrook and have my mom give me a buzz cut like she used to do in high school. That's what I'm gonna do.
Go to Tommy Guns.
Keep it or clip it for Tommy Gunn's Original Barbershop, where they believe a great haircut is more than just a quick in and out. It's about the whole experience. That's why they follow the code. Commitment to deliver the best barbershop experience every time you visit. From check-in to the finishing touch, every step is crafted with care. No appointments needed. Just walk in, relax, and they will take it from there. It will get worse in Colorado before it gets better? Keep it or clip it?
Oh.
I don't know what to answer to this question. It's a tough one.
I'm going to clip it. I think that this team, with the core that it has, is too good to allow that to happen. And I think Barty Natchez is no Mikko Rantanen. Don't get me wrong. I still think they're going to be a good team for the next few years. I don't know if they can return to contender elite status. I don't know if Blackwood and Wedgwood are Stanley Cup caliber goaltenders. They're certainly better than Georgiev and Justus Anonin, but I'll say that they're still going to be a good team.
Yeah, I think.
So I'll clip that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to clip it too and say that like this is kind of the bottom for this group. I think right now. You know, like, they're going to add some pieces. Natchez, I think, is going to be a great fit with MacKinnon. I can't wait to watch him tonight. I loved watching him play in Carolina. Big fan of that guy. So to me, being in a wild card spot, so they're in a wild card spot right now. So what's more likely? They're back up in the top 3 in the division or out of a playoff spot next. And it can't be out of a playoff spot. Like it just, I don't envision a world where that happens. So I'm going to have to clip it as well and say things will definitely get better because I don't know if they can get much worse than this when they have MacKinnon and they have Makar. And, you know, like I just don't see them missing the playoffs with those two guys. Jeff Skinner will finish 5th on the Oilers in goals. Keep it or clip it. He's tied for 5th right now.
He's behind Leon Connor,
Hyman and Nuge.
You know what? I might go with clip it. I'll put Victor Arvidsson in there.
Whoa. Really? You see Arvidsson heating up here at some point, do you?
I could see him heating up at some point. So I'll clip that.
I will clip it as well, but I'll say Bouchard ends up getting it done. There's got to be some power play goals coming here for Bouch at some point.
Paul Coffey says hi to everybody, by the way.
Well, that's very nice of him.
He says my hair looks very nice today. Thanks, Coffey.
Oh, God, enough. Like, the last thing we need is Paul Coffey telling you that your hair looks nice.
He just did, and he said to tell everybody.
C-Run says Corey Perry is tied with Skinner right now. Yeah, it's Skinner and Perry, I think, at 10. Is Bouchard at 9? I think he's at 9.
I think he is, yeah.
Right there. So I'm going to... Part of me wants to keep it, but I'll clip it as a show of support for Bouchard so people don't get pissed at me today. Keep it or clip it. We should be allowed to have the beer tower at the Super Bowl party. Matty says he's knocking down whatever tower we start to build.
I'm going to be in solidarity with Matty on this one because it was fun. It was a nice moment until it got ruined. And it was costly. So I feel like we're going to have a great party, but I would not allow the beer tower to happen again. And that picture you showed today on the morning show was epic.
That was
whoever sent that one in. That was a great photo.
That was a glue guy photo. It's one of the greatest moments of my life, I think, Tommy. You know, I'm not even kidding. I mean, was great. I don't have many great moments of my life where I'm standing on a chair with my arms in the air like this. It just doesn't happen very often. So,
oh man, that was a great party. I think it's safest and more cost efficient to not have a beer tower. I'm watching Paul Coffey literally jaywalk in front of the cops.
What?
He's jaywalking in front of the cops. They don't care.
I have a feeling in the 80s that those guys did a lot of worse things in front of the cops. And probably
Oh yeah, they did. I've heard.
You have to. I don't think you have to worry about that one. All right, let's go this one. Keep it or clip it. Connor McDavid will be the MVP of the Four Nations face-off.
Ooh, clip it.
Who are you going with? Do you have a pick?
I will go with
Connor
someone
Hellebuck?
from the U.S. Yeah, it could be Hellebuck. I could see like a Matthew Tkachuk rising to the occasion.
Matthew Tkachuk, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to clip it. I think Canada does not win the Four Nations face-off and then learns from whatever goes wrong in this tournament and then wins the gold at the Olympics,
because that's
is
the
more
one that
important.
really matters, like we would say. Let's play it. Let's twist it here. If Canada wins it, who else could win the MVP outside of McDavid?
It could be MacKinnon, seriously, or Makar.
Makar. I mean, it could be Makar.
And Brett Kulak was talking about, because I asked him about the Four Nations in the exclusive you can hear in the
on the Nasty Club.
In the Nasty Club, he says these short tournaments, anything can happen. Like crazy storylines can emerge, and that opens the door to someone else like a MacKinnon or a Makar just having a great burst of a 9-day stretch where they go absolutely loco and go crazy and help lead the charge and become the MVP.
Nielson and Gazzola with you here on the Oil Stream. A few minutes left. EST Afternoons is coming up. Ice Cube, you know what's happening on EST Afternoons with Hernan and Gager?
Well, League Hacksaw Hamilton
for the Super Bowl.
Joining to preview the Super Bowl, of course. Eagles and Chiefs. He's always a great guest, great guy to come on. Of course, we'll talk about the new look Avs taking on the Oilers. Oilers trying to avoid the Avalanche, of course. And then Zach to the future.
Oh, Zach to the future today.
Yeah.
All right, tell me more about that. You got what do you have, like 6 questions, 7 questions?
Yeah, 5 or 6 questions I think I'll be asked by Hernan and Joaquin.
So how do you study for Zach to the future?
It's hard because I asked Trev his tips on what I should study because me and him, similar age, right? We don't really know much about the 80s or 90s. We weren't really around. So I asked him, he just said, I don't know, 80s and 90s stuff. I didn't really study this time around. Last week I was looking at Jordan.
How do you study that?
There's not really much you could do. I don't know.
How do you study 2 decades?
Read a history book maybe? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
What's the percentage of sports questions to non-sports questions?
Maybe
like a 50-50 type of thing?
35 to 65.
All right. What time's that going down?
That will be at 1:40.
At 1:40, okay. Yeah. All right, 1:40, Zach to the future, new segment with EST Afternoons, and it's a good one. You're going to want to
I got 4 out
check
of
that
7
out.
last time.
Yeah, good for you, buddy.
Yeah,
so it came down to that song at the end? Is that what it was?
Yeah. And it was Zombie by the Cranberries.
Yeah. I saw you got it. I watched that clip.
I started singing it. It was so good.
No, good work, buddy.
Banger.
Well, best of luck today. Zach to the future coming up here.
I love it.
1:40. Tommy, you'll be setting things up tonight, 6 o'clock.
Yes, sir.
And we'll get a look at Makar, MacKinnon, Draisaitl, McDavid. This should be. Are you expecting everybody's going to have a break, loosey-goosey, 6-5 type of game?
Yep. I, as much as they want to focus on tonight, I think the carrot dangling in front of them, that is the break, will kind of affect this game. Both teams, by the way. Both teams.
Well, I'm looking forward to watching this one. That should be a pretty good game tonight. We got EST Afternoons coming up next, 1 o'clock with Hernan. And Hernan looks pissed off. He lost on video games again. I beat him at Tecmo earlier today, and I think Trev just beat him in hockey too. You know, Hernan's going to be spicy today. Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. All right, that's going to do it for the Oil Stream today. Brought to you by Boston Pizza and, of course, Popeyes and our great partners over at Tommy Guns. I'll see you soon. Tommy, have a good pre- and post tonight, buddy. Should be a lot of fun. I will see everybody else, I guess, at the Super Bowl party on Sunday. Very much looking forward to that. Take it easy.